two items on the consent agenda, the minutes from our last council meeting in September and the July financial report. Is there any need for discussion of those items before I ask for a vote? Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda? So moved. Thank you, Jen. And a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Any opposed? Great, thank you.
What am I doing? You didn't tell me.
You're turning it over to Jackie.
Oh, good. I get to turn it over to Jackie. Be sure. One thing I should have shared is AFK had the opportunity to have State's Ear this morning. Just about the things that was going on in El Paso counties. The positive things, the things that they've been able to accomplish, as well as the things, the struggles that they're running across. And it was a very productive meeting this morning. It went very, very well. Jackie prepared a tremendous presentation, and all the staff worked really hard on their part, and it was impressive. So I wanted to thank them for that. Oh, that's Jackie, there you go.
Thank you.
Thank you, and we have everybody here from the part of the team was a big part of that, so thank you. We had Deanne there, we had Linda Meredith, we had Renee there as part of executive committee, so thank you for being there. And we really, it is the council, but it is absolutely in partnership, every step of the way with our partners, so we really thank you. Actually, I'll lead right into, so if you have been following, the Office of Early Childhood submitted a federal grant, the Preschool Development Grant. It was due yesterday, they submitted that. I actually was able to talk to, if you're familiar with Stacy Kennedy and Aaron, who are a little bit higher up, who are in charge of that. We had a conversation as we were leaving, and we'll link information about that grant on our website. Where's Angela? I just got some information today, as well as what the application from the state went in, and there's 5 different approaches. The first part of it is a community assessment piece, and the conversation that followed our presentation was the excitement about what this community is doing together in a more comprehensive approach to support families. As they realize it's not just about quality improvement's important, absolutely, but it's a much bigger piece than that. It's the health and well-being, it's the social emotional supports, it's the family education and support, and the FFNs networks and reaching out and access to quality childcare, and absolutely increasing access to CCAP slots in our community. So the first part of this grant, it's actually, they will be notified by December 17th because they have to award this money by the end of the year. So it's a fast turnaround, and they'll be up and running by January. So then they'll do, I think it's a 6-month or 9-month process of community needs assessment. They were, again, I think pleased at some of the comprehensive work we're doing, and said, you know what, this is exciting for possibly the community assessment piece coming up, that if we're awarded. Just thank you to everybody, the partner. We'll keep you posted on that, and we will link exactly what the state outlined in their 5-step program with that. From my understanding, you had to have a QRIS system in place. And there are like 32 states that have a QRIS system in place. They're awarding 30 applications. So they feel pretty good about getting awarded, at least for the community needs assessment. Everybody then has to submit their plan, and then they'll find out from the feds who is awarded the funding to move forward with the implementation piece. So that's how that's going to work. So again. All right, a couple other updates then for you. We were awarded, the community partnership, again, several of you are in the room, for a Colorado Springs, we call it still the Colorado Springs Health Foundation grant. We are gonna work, it's a pilot project. Mental Health Colorado is a part of that, and we are looking at working intensely with an early care and education site and implementing these 10 best practices. It's a brand new toolkit, Early Childhood Mental Health Toolkit. They have a school toolkit. They're just launched, and actually it should be live on Friday. And we are working together with partners on implementation of this. They'll be providing technical assistance and watching the data over a year. And our goal is to help support the children, the families, and the workforce. And the whole picture. I'm looking at several the other part of it. What else do we want to? That's the one that's up and running. We found out when we got it. It's like, oh, by the way, it started today, the day you were notified. We're like, what? Anything else, ladies, that we should add? Okay. We'll keep you posted on that one. We're excited, and we feel like this can be a pilot and something then that can be modeled and replicated in the community. Renee shared with you the state visit. We're pleased with that. And then again, thank you to a fantastic team that spent a lot of time putting that together. I think that's it. Anybody else? I'm looking at the team members here. Anybody have any other updates? Okay. And guess who's next on the agenda? I'm going to hand it to Heather. I'll let her get settled. Actually, you know what? We'll skip to the next. Yeah, I'll give it back to you. Or do you want me to go right into the new business on the strategic plan? Okay, and then we'll give it to Heather. So, what I'd like to bring to your attention, and hopefully this will just take a minute or two. When you came in, you received goal number 3 sheet. And there's a highlighted section. I'm sorry. The highlighted copy did not copy over. So, what I want to bring to your attention is on short-term objective number 2. Per the strategic plan, the Family Education and Support Committee has been working on kind of revising a little bit the strategies and outcomes, understanding that that's something that the team works on together with their committee. But what they looked at was the original short-term objective number 2 was number 1, difficult for us to actually document and look at the progress on it, as well as it wasn't completely aligned with the work on strengthening families and protective factors in 2Gen. So if you look at short-term objective number 2, they worked on revising that wording, and what we are looking for is seeking approval from the council members on the rewording of that objective number 2. The strategies and outcomes are aligned with that. I do have what the original one talked about, and it was promote access to Family Speak Project, resources and supports for parents and families. It's evidenced by a 15% increase in accessing resources such as playgroups, parent education, etc. But that was, as we looked at the strategies, that was really difficult for them to go through and actually gather the data on that. So they went back and revised that wording. So what we're looking for is approval from the council members that this new wording and then the alignment of the expected outcomes and supportive strategies, those have just been aligned with the work and just better way for them to actually measure that has been accomplished, because we have to report back to the state every quarter. So maybe I'll just stop there and open up for any questions or comments. Dana, is there anything that I need to add to that?
Just as clarification, so this is the Family Speak group that is wanting this change in
Correct. Correct.
Then I move that we change the wording to what is posted here.
Thank you, Jen. Is there a second? And Jen, all in favor? Thank you. Thank you. All right, now we're going to move on. Should I hand it to Heather, ladies? Okay.
Thank you. Okay, and I'm updating the numbers from the Pyramid Plus project, correct?
Right, should I give an overview?
I'm sorry, let me give an overview. The Pyramid Plus project ended in the end of May, and so we ran the data at the end of August, and our September meeting was too soon for us to report the final numbers and so forth, but it was pretty exciting to share this work. And so what Heather's going to do is present to you the final numbers on the final report and some of the, what would you call that, the work with some partners and next steps. And then I'll also present with you or share with you what we're hoping on some next steps.
Great. Great. Okay, so many of you are familiar with the Pyramid Plus project. We've been doing this for 3.5 years. We just closed out the grant at the end of May. And I think it's fair to say it's been a great success. We really have embedded the Pyramid Plus approach in the community, and we are looking to sustain it. So I'm going to give you just some final numbers. So we ended up with 6 sustaining implementation sites, which was our goal. We have 568 teachers, early childhood educators, I should say, and some administrators trained in the Pyramid Plus approach, which means that 18-session course in the Pyramid Plus approach. Often it was 6 full Saturdays, and then sometimes it was evening courses over the span of a few months, right? So 568 people trained in that course. We had 229 teachers intensively coached in the classroom. That's a huge accomplishment, because if you think about 229 teachers, think about how many kids that means we've impacted through teachers that have actually been intensively coached in the classroom. We had 69 teachers at the end of the 3 years achieve fidelity to the model, which is our program fidelity of achieving 80% on the Teaching Pyramid Observation Tool, or the TPOT, as some of us know it. If you look at the standard, the standard for fidelity at the national level, it's 75%. So if we adjusted that number, so we have 69 at 80% fidelity, which was our project standard, and if we adjusted that to do the national standard, we had 87 teachers at fidelity. Now, we actually expect that number to increase over time, because what we have seen is that many teachers don't hit fidelity to the model after their first year, because it's a pretty high bar, but they do reach it in year 2, and if they haven't reached it in year 2, they often reach it in year 3, so we expect that number to increase. And total, we have calculated between the teachers that have taken the approach, adding that all together, so we have our 6 implementation sites plus community classrooms. We have 14,807 kids who've been impacted so far, and more will be impacted because we now have these teachers at fidelity and the implementation sites who are continuing to embed the pyramid approach in their classrooms. We have 6,166 parents trained. So that means these are the parents that are at these implementation sites that get education in the Pyramid Plus approach, which includes like a backpack series of educational materials, teachers speaking with parents at parent information nights or one-on-one about what the pyramid model is. And even more intensively, we had in this project, we have some more now, but by the close of this project last May, we had 278 parents trained in Positive Solutions for Families, which is the parenting class that is a component of the Pyramid Plus approach. And that is now a 7-week course, which includes training in ACEs, which is the Adverse Childhood Experiences training that talks about the impact of adverse childhood experiences on not only the kids potentially themselves, but also parents, and gives parents kind of a heads up about how that might be impacting their lives. It also gives them some hope about how a lot of people can be resilient.
I would just say too, I'm sorry to interrupt, but because we were announcing that the 3 new in January that are going to be offered, so it took how long to get 278 people? Like 3 years?
3 years, yeah. We started out with like 14 parents the first year and
so
17 the second year.
People can be trained in January based on the slots available for that 7-week course. So when you think about it, that is a huge amount of numbers in, a lot, because of the growth in the community and the experiences that families have had to say, we want this, agencies want to send their families to it, the growth in the community to expand Positive Solutions for Families. That is incredible to be able to offer 100 families beginning in January this opportunity to get more of this embedded in the community and with families. So I'm sorry, I just had to throw that out there because you're talking numbers.
Yeah, no, that's great.
It's very exciting.
And it's a testament to the course itself and the course teachers that there's a continued demand. Because oftentimes what we do here is that agencies will offer parenting classes and nobody shows up. This is different. People are there. We have people waiting and people eager to take the class, and so we're continuing to offer it. And it's a 7-week class. I mean, that's that's a big time commitment. But we do offer childcare and food, so that helps a lot.
And you said it from childcare. But the one thing I want to point out with that, this Positive Solutions for Families is really a community project. TRA is really I want to say taking more of the lead now and maybe kind of been the hub maybe for bringing people together, and we're really gathering the data as we go along, and the data is pretty amazing. So that's exciting, and it continues to grow. And the parents are really coming to all 7 sessions. There for the 3 hours. They don't want to leave. They're coming back and saying, we want more. So it's exciting.
Sure.
So we just finished 2 7-week sessions in 2 different locations in town, and one of those had a group of moms who were on the verge of homelessness, and they were there because the agency that they work with in order to try and secure housing said they had to go, and they even had a staff person there to make sure that they were in attendance and participating, and so it was more of a kind of way we like it to start. And so those parents started in the first 2 sessions being quite defensive, and
They knew everything too.
yeah, what was being suggested to them, they'd already tried, it wasn't working and everything. But once they engaged after those first 2 sessions, these families actually started really engaging in the conversations, and by the end of it, were reporting that it was one of the best trainings they had participated in. So it kind of shows that it isn't just for families who are all gung-ho about a parent class kind of thing, that this is really a nice class for even those who think they're not interested at all at first. So I just got that data today, so.
That's great. That's great. So a couple of other things I want to mention. I just want to mention that with this, with the course that we've been offering, we looked at some of the data from the evaluations that teachers are given at the close of every session. So there are 18 sessions in the course, and on average, 94% of the teachers who responded to the question, did you learn something, a skill or knowledge that you can implement immediately? Based on the session, on average, 94% of the teachers said yes, that they learned skills or knowledge that they can implement immediately when they return to their classroom. So that's pretty good. And what else? I think that's it for the numbers. What I wanted to say next is, I think I've presented to this group before how we did a study in year 2 that compared classrooms who were at Fidelity and classrooms who were not at Fidelity at CPCD. And I always say this was done in year 2, and it was perfect timing because we actually had like 26 classrooms at Fidelity and 27 classrooms not at Fidelity. So it was a perfect control group. About the same number of kids, about 530 kids in each classroom. I mean, in each condition. And what we found is kids in Fidelity classrooms did better on the TS Gold, social emotional, than kids not in Fidelity classrooms. So fewer fell below expectations for their age, and more exceeded expectations for their age. So this was a really exciting finding, and CPCD and Alliance for Kids took this to District 2 and proposed to do a research project where we would follow kids from CPCD through 3rd grade in District 2 and look at their academic outcomes and their social and emotional outcomes, things like disciplinary actions and things like that. District 2 was very excited about it. So we're now going to be following children from CPCD in Fidelity classrooms, not in Fidelity classrooms, And then a third group of kids who didn't go to CPCD at all, so are in District 2 but did not have that background. We're right now working on some parental consent issues. If we can kind of work around them, which it looks like we can, hopefully, then we will actually be able to use data from the last 2 cohorts who were in, who were at CPCD. So we'll start out being able to look at 2 years of data. If we can't get around the parental consent issue, then we'll just start fresh this coming year and start tracking the kids. But District 2 has been wonderful. We've got about 800 kids from CPCD who every year who go from CPCD classrooms into District 2, so we'll have a very big data set. And you know, the first time we met with them, they just sort of like laid out all the measures that they give kids from kindergarten through 3rd grade, and they said, what do you want to look at? And so we were pretty excited about that, and we said, most everything, but not everything, you know, just enough to give us a good sense of whether or not Pyramid Plus has an impact through 3rd grade. And once you get to 3rd grade, if it does, 3rd grade, all the testing that goes on in 3rd grade then predicts later stuff, often predicts later stuff. And so we kind of leapfrog from that to really assess the impact of the Pyramid Plus approach, which, if it turns out to be impactful, will help us sustain the approach in the community. And so with that, Jackie can talk about that.
Just a final note on that. One of our goals for meeting with the Office of Early Childhood today was to explain that project and share with them, you know, we received, it was $860,000 over a 3.5 year process, but really what we're looking at is how do we sustain and expand this project on a much more fiscally responsive measure. And so we presented the data, we presented our ideas, and we really want to continue to work with them. And you know, part of it's going to be, can we get coaches certified in PDIS so all that credit counts, you know, as well as the certification. We have trainers, if you saw the data, we have coaches here. You know, we're looking at doing a Colorado Springs model of this in some way, shape, or form, working in coordination with UC Denver of Pyramid Plus. So we'll keep you posted. And we have the Pyramid Plus launching, right, soon, or not? Training? Yes.
Dates are set for January. If you have anyone who'd like to attend the training, you can just email me, and I will get all the registration information sent out soon.
Recruiting soon, okay?
And I just want to add, so, because I forgot to say, we have 7 course trainers and 15 coaches in the community now.
Thank you all. The next item of new business is around the council restructure. We began this discussion at the last council meeting and essentially got feedback that it sounded appropriate to continue this discussion. So they actually, the next 2 items are really focused on this particular topic. So one of the handouts that you had when you signed in was some questions for the council restructure discussion that we would like for you guys to really discuss at your tables and provide some feedback around. And then from that, we will begin to ask if anyone might be interested in participating on an ad hoc committee to really look at the bylaws and what those might look like if we were to make some changes based on the conversations and discussion that we're having around the suggestions for council restructure.
Yeah, I think, you know, time frame wise, what we're looking at, the writing on big paper, and then maybe come back together. We'll take a few minutes to talk about what they talked about, and then we'll gather the data and go from there.
What time is it now?
I have 3:17.
Okay, so you want to go to about
25 minutes, 3:45.
Okay.
We'll see how close, 3:40, 3:45, but maybe, but there are several things that we want to talk about. I believe there's an executive committee member as well as a staff member at each of the tables to help facilitate or ask questions and so forth. I think really a couple of the key questions are looking at the model that has been most widely looked at, endorsed with thus far, but again open to their feedback, is an expansion of the executive committee. So if that's the direction we go, who should be a part? representation.
should be a part of that committee then. Then the council meetings, we've heard people say we want to continue to have council membership in at least quarterly meetings. So tell us a little bit more about that. What should that look like? How does that continue? And then there's also been presented that we know that the largest participation we have is in our standing monthly meetings. People come, they share advice. I just heard from Dana and Erica how great the Family Support and Education meeting was and very productive. Kelly's telling me how the learning and development is just taking off and the feedback, and we're talking about workforce. So should the membership come through either standing committee and or council? So we're just open to what you want to hear there. And what do those standing committees, should they continue? Should they be working groups? Do they form with a certain topic aligned to the strategic plan? And then after that's met, do they dissolve and then go on in a different direction? We've heard lots of different ideas, so we just want to get an idea of what your thoughts are.
Sound good? Anyone have any questions about that?
Just one clarification before we start. Question number 4 states, should we use the current system in place as noted by the bylaws? And I couldn't tell you that off the top of my head.
No, there should be a sheet on your table. Oh, the current bylaws? I do have the current bylaws.
Yeah, so I could glance at that just because it is saying, should we use the current system in place for how they should be elected? So I just wanted to look at that before discussing.
Absolutely.
You bet. And then there is also on each table, this is what the legislation says needs to happen for the oversight of council governance. So what
the
are
legislative
their roles?
requirements of the council oversight.
And presently, that's our council membership.
Great.
So
Other questions? Okay, we'll get back together about 4:45.